Lost Nation Archery in Brenton, USA now presents Lead and Limbs podcast, where broadheads and brass collide, with your hosts Nick Carpenter and Blake Mallory.
All right, we are back on Lead and Limbs. Me and Nick are here in the studio, and remotely we've got Dan Hatchew, owner of 2KJigs, self-proclaimed big buck killer. No, just kidding. You said you weren't self-proclaimed. Someone else gave you that. Your daughter did. So
Buck King.
Yeah, Buck King. I'm sorry. That's what it is. So no, Dan and I go way back. Dan was actually my wedding, but Dan runs another business. 2KJigs, started it in your basement. Hey man, just good to have you on here.
Yeah, glad to be here, man. It's been quite a journey with 2KJigs, and you were there from the beginning when we were working together. We actually come up with a name. You remember that? We came up with the name of the business together. That was 15, 16 years ago now. So
I told you, I go, give me every word in bass fishing, and then we did some like random draw and we put it together. So
yeah. And we were getting paid to work while we were doing that too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Always a plus.
Yeah. I remember the tournament that it felt like you were going to make that turn. And that was when we were fishing Arcadia.
Yeah, that was quite the tournament, huh? What were we?
But was that like the deciding factor? Like, was there something that clicked for you around that time?
Well, you remember, so we were running 20 miles up there, right? And we were fishing the timber. And I remember we went and purchased like $100 of jigs. And for me and you at that time, like we were both broke.
Oh, you know? I'm sure I had to take a loan for it.
And we went and bought like $100 in jigs, and just like the only living rubber jigs we could find, because that's what we liked. And we literally would lose. I think we lost like all of them in that tournament. Like we lost so many jigs in the timber, and we lose the tournament. We bring in a 2-day tournament. We bring in 9 fish, 4 fish the last day. We lose the tournament by less than 2 pounds. So if we'd have caught a keeper, we would have won 15, 20 grand, whatever it was. And I just remember, out of all that, I just remember like that $100 and those jigs really sucked. And I was like, I think I can make them better. And obviously I could do it cheaper than that. And I won't be so upset about losing $100, but so not winning the tournament, not winning the $20,000, which would have been like what me and you make in a year. The biggest thing that came out of that was, I really need to save more money on $100 jig purchases.
Yeah. And we were out of $1,000 by like less than 2 ounces or something.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we ran out there the first day, and I mean, we found that ourselves, right? Nobody gave us anything. And I remember Blake's driving, and I don't recommend ever riding with Blake when he's driving a bass boat, but we ran up from Manistee to Arcadia.
You didn't die, did you?
I did not. And we get there, and if you're a big fishing guy in Michigan or Indiana, you know the name Greg Mangus. And I remember we got off a pad, and 5 seconds later, Greg gets off a pad right next to us. And me and Blake looked at each other. We're like, we're in the juice if we're fishing right next to Greg, And we were real cordial with each other, and he kind of stayed in his spot and we stayed in our spot, but we were fishing really close to each other. And I remember coming in at weigh-in, and we beat Greg by a couple pounds, and we were in top 10, I think, after the first day.
I think it was 4th or 5th.
Yeah, something like that. And Greg said to us after the tournament, he's like, hey, I don't have a chance to win this, but you guys do, so I'm going to leave that spot alone for you. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool, because we're just a couple punks, just a couple young punks. And for him to do that to us, that was pretty cool. Well, we made the run up there, and the weather got really bad, and we could only catch 4, and we almost died 3 or 4 times on the way back. There was so much water in the boat that the water was up to our knees. It was There were like 15-foot waves, right? It was crazy.
You
Jeez.
at one point you stood up to bail out. I grabbed you and pulled you back into the seat
I was
and
gonna
kept
jump, man.
driving.
We had to cut the pier like just perfect, and ride the bottom of the trough into the pier. And
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
waves
we
were
almost T-boned the pier.
yeah, the waves were straight out of the north, and they were like
Yeah.
10, 15-foot rollers.
In the beginning of October, I mean, it's just a mess.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we came back into Manistee with like a couple hours left. And that's a good thing we left when we did, because it would have been even worse. But we couldn't catch that last fish.
No, man.
You
We only
know?
had 4 bites. That whole last day, we only had 4 bites. We didn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
like we missed an opportunity.
Yeah, it was
So
tough. So I mean, the biggest tournament we fished in, and we almost there. We almost could have won it. But yeah, that kind of started the whole thing with 2K. Like,
I do feel like that was the tournament where we started earning respect from people. Like we weren't
yeah,
there as a fluke.
yeah. I mean, it took a long time to get there too. And we
Oh,
we fished pretty well that whole season.
yeah.
You know.
There was
And then if you
seasons.
remember what happened the next season was like the downfall of our lives. You know,
Oh my God.
your my boat blows up, your boat blows up. We're just like, all right, it's either we divorce our wives and start living together and become tournament fishermen, or we just quit doing it.
It was the end of the road. It was what, lower unit and blown engine within 2 weeks of each other.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I blew my engine down there. What was
The
it, somewhere?
Coldwater Lake.
Yeah, Coldwater, and then
Champ.
so we were out of the Southern Lake Drive Classic, and then we're
Mhm.
still fishing the North. And I remember we figured out we only had to get like 40th place, and we would have qualified in the top 10.
Mhm.
And you spun a hub, you blew your lower unit
My lower
on
unit was
takeoff.
blown. Yeah. No, it
And we
was
caught,
yeah, it was takeoff, but it was halfway across Muskegon Lake.
yeah,
Oh,
and we
Yeah.
trolled our way back and caught 3 fish, and we lost out to the Classic by 1 place, but we wouldn't have had a boat to fish it anyways.
No, yeah, we would have been like, anybody got a rowboat?
Yeah, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
have mattered.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Those were young and dumb days, man. I feel like we fished our asses off, but
Oh, I mean, we were fishing 60 plus tournaments a season, and doing that in 3 months, and either one of us really had money, you know.
no.
And it was like, you look back on it now, you're like, what were we thinking? And you quit, and then I fished for another 3 or 4 years, and then I kind of stepped away from it, and I was off for probably 8 years or so, and I just got back into it last season, just fishing Tuesday morning deal, you know,
Nice.
just a little club deal. But I was off of tournament fishing for a long time until last season.
I still kept fishing with that blown lower unit in the weekday tournaments with my trolling motor, and I won 3 more. Won one with you, or I think we won 2, and I won 1 by myself over on Pine Island, just flipping pads from the boat launch with my trolling
Oh
motor.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So yeah, those are good days. But I think that one year I cashed like, I think I had to do taxes, and I think I cashed like, it was like between $13,000 and $15,000 in checks, and did my expenses to do it all, and it was like $16,000 or $17,000 that I spent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally
you're not
lost
making any
money.
money.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have 100 guys on my team, or I've known that fish tournaments, and um, there might be 2 guys that I know that make money bass fishing. Once you
Yeah.
add it all up, you know,
Yeah. You gotta
fishing
love to
the
do it
local
though.
deal,
It's a whole
it,
different thing. You gotta love to
it's
do
just
it.
a hobby. You can't really do it to make money. And if you're even the guys that fish professionally, quote unquote, and fish the big circuits, like none of them are living off of winning tournaments. You know,
And you're living
the
off
select
sponsorships at
few.
that point. Yeah.
Yep, select few make it live on sponsorship money, and then whatever the percentage is, it's high. 90% of the rest of the guys have a normal job, or they're living off a credit card.
Yeah.
It's a tough deal.
What so you started, you kind of clicked that you needed to make these jigs.
Yeah.
How did I want to hear your story of like getting started. Like,
I don't know if I tell people this all the time. I don't know if I could do what I did again. Does that make sense? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I could start a company right now, even in the same spectrum, the same industry, and have it last as long as this company has lasted. Like, I'm not quite sure how it happened, to tell you the truth. Like, the only thing that I can really I didn't have a pot to piss in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have nothing. And one thing I did know was I hated working for people. And if I mean, you know me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of people telling me what to do, for starters, and really don't like that. And and I didn't have nothing. So it was like, well, I think it was one of those things where it's like, uh, this had to work. Like, it
Yeah.
just had to. And uh, my wife was going through school still at that time, and it's like she was really supportive, which made no sense. But because it's like I had, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start this fishing lure company. I have no business background. I went to school on and off for business and marketing and stuff, but like, I've never really done this before. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And she's like, that's awesome. Like, here's all the money we have in our savings account, which wasn't much, a couple $1,000, you know. She's like, here you go, you go do this. And I was like, she's crazy. Like, but yeah, I mean, we started doing it, and I was really good at making product. And one of the first one of the first companies that really use Facebook as like marketing in this industry, anyways. Like, we were one of the first companies to really use that to our advantage, as far as like grassroots tournament guys. It was like when I started the company, it was right when like everybody started buying jerseys, right? And
Yeah.
everybody wanted a logo on their shirt.
Mhm.
And we were one of the first to really use grassroots to build it. And I've said this quote before, is like, I'm not quite sure how it went, but basically, like, um, someone asked me how the company grew, and then my response was, I found uh, 100-foot soldiers and turned them into generals. And like, that's how I grew. I found like just quote unquote nobodies that have never repped a company, have never, whether they won a tournament or not, it didn't matter. You know, I found these guys, I got them to buy into the product, to appreciate the product, to use the product, and then I got them to buy into my sales strategy. And like, so when I say I took 100-foot soldiers and turned them into generals, there was a point where like, if you were on Facebook, you weren't sure if Jim owned the company, or Nate owned the company, or Dan owned the company. You had no idea, because there was just 100 people acting like they were the owner, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well. I mean, I had a pretty good following locally and in the Midwest, and I ended up getting buying a manufacturer out that was manufacturing like the raw product, like just the lead product from me, and then I was painting it and skirting it. I ended up buying that company out, and then I started manufacturing for others and myself. And then I think like the big like hump that got me over was Dick's Sporting Goods and Field and Stream.
Yep.
And looking back on it, like, I'm not quite sure I should have did it, but the only reason that it really worked was like, it got us out into a bunch of different markets and kind of put like a stamp of approval on our company. Like, oh, these guys are in Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, they're in 50 Dick's Sporting Goods, and they're in every Field and Stream in the country. Like,
They're
they've only been
legit.
around for 2 years. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is legit, you know? And I didn't make any money on that. Like, if you know anything about box stores, like,
Yeah, you don't
it's
make
a
any money off the box
mess,
store.
dude. It's so bad. And I had 3 or 4 employees, and was working at that time. I was still working a full-time job, and then I was working after my job until midnight every day, all every Saturday, every Sunday. And I did that for like 2 years. I mean, with Dick's. I mean, I missed birthday parties, sporting events, anniversaries. Like, it didn't freaking matter. Like, I literally went to work, went right from work to the shop I was renting at Sparta, and I would work until midnight every day. and then on the weekends, sun up, midnight. And I did that for a while. And, that's just the work behind it. And that's kind of where I've seen, like, if you're going to make it, like a lot of guys have that, but the question is like, how long can you do that? Right? How long can you work 150 hours a week without your
Yeah.
wife saying, I'm going to leave you? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or before, or doing that and not making any money before you're just like, I just can't do it anymore, and some businesses it's a year, some businesses it's 5 years. Like, but can you get over that hump? And for us it was probably about 4 years of that. And then finally, uh, after that, my my wife ended up graduating school, getting a good job with insurance, and I quit my job and started doing it full time. I've been doing it full time now for 11 years, I think.
Mhm.
We're 15 years old in March, and I no longer am in the box stores. I figured out that's not how you make money. 90% of our sales are all done online at 2KJigs.com. And we still hit like the mom and pop stores, and we still have like some larger chains that we do business with that aren't like Dick's Sporting Goods, like mom and pop chains. We got 4 or 5 stores, and got rid of all my employees after I got rid of the box stores. I went from doing 1 million products a year to doing 100,000 products a year, so I can manufacture them all by myself. Uh, Making way more money than I made
Yeah.
when I sold the Dicks. And now I'm kind of just a one man deal. So if you're buying a product from 2K Jigs, I I pour it, I paint it, I eye it, I skirt it, I package it. I do everything myself. So I touch that jig 15 times before it goes to your hands. I mean, and sometimes I can talk my girls into helping me package, but
Yeah, I know how that goes.
that's
So
yeah,
yeah.
that's once in a great while. But it's been quite a journey, man. I mean, I've met a lot of people. Um, I'm truly blessed, to be as successful as 2K Jigs is, and we're making high quality tournament grade fishing tackle. I joke with people the last couple years is we're a walleye company pretending to be a bass company.
Yeah.
We came we came out with a walleye jig. This will be our third season with it, and the first year it was our number one seller, and then the second year it was the number one seller.
Oh man.
And it's like we've I don't even know how to walleye fish.
Right. I was gonna say apparently we're a walleye company now, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
don't.
are whatever sells. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, I know how to make a jig. I know how to design it.
Mhm.
I know the concept of river fishing, and I know a lot of people that are really good walleye fishermen.
Yeah.
So you put minds together that know what they're talking about, and I can create it. I can create it for sure. And yeah, I mean, the number one selling bait, the Deposit Heartbreaker walleye jig for Detroit River, Saginaw River. Those walleye runs are crazy.
I was gonna say right
But
now
yeah,
is a big time.
Mhm.
we're crunching on them right now. And cool story about that Deposit Heartbreaker. Uh, I hooked up with Jason Gallagher. He runs the Fish Fly Charters out of Detroit. He's a friend with one of my good bass guys, right, on my team, and he hooked us up. And he fished the walleye tournament, the Michigan Walleye Tour, a couple years ago. The first time this jig has ever seen a tournament, and they won it off the
Oh
jig,
yeah.
which is pretty special,
Nice. Yeah.
and going back to the break off of that Deposit Heartbreaker walleye jig, we have a bass jig we came out with in 2012 that's similar, but it's like the bass deal of it. We took that profile and turned it into a walleye deal. Well, the first tournament with the Deposit swim jig 13, 14 years ago, whatever it was, it won its tournament, So looking back, and then 13 years later, 10 years later, the walleye version wins its first tournament. Is just wild. But obviously that thing's got it's got something working for it because it
Yeah, no
puts them in
doubt.
the boat. And yeah, so we're a walleye company pretending to be a bass fishing company.
Hey man, if it works, it works. So, what that you got me thinking about that is the first one you designed was the Freak.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you remember old school testing that at Kimball?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was.
Remember my rod broke
Oh yeah,
in the middle of that? Yeah.
oh yeah, yep. And you had some words for the guy who sent you that rod.
I forget who even owned those rods. Yeah, the Freak was, and we don't have the marketing that all these big companies have.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that we created that nobody knows that we're the first ones to create, because then the big companies knock it off and everybody thinks they do. And the Freak's one of them. And it's
Is
a
there a
great jig.
knockoff on the Freak?
Oh yeah, Jackal knocked it off 1 year after we came out with it.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, and that's still a great jig. We still sell it, but nobody had anything like that. And then even the deposit swim jig, uh, no one sold a swim jig like that with the flat faced gill plates, big eyes. Like nobody did that.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it. And now you'd be hard pressed to find a company that doesn't do that, right? Just like recently, the last couple of years, we came out with a forward-facing sonar is like a big thing in the bass world now. We came out with a jig that has a stainless steel ring hooked to the eyelet, and we started that in August, and by the time January came, there was like 3 or 4 companies that were doing it. And then there was podcasts happening. Everybody was saying, who's the first one, and obviously no one ever says we're the ones that come out with it. But I'm like, you can timestamp it, right? And so I did a Facebook marketing thing. Like, look no, we're the first ones to do this,
Yeah.
And it's not like I care. Tell people I get knocked off more in a 7-Eleven. Like, it doesn't matter to me, you can keep knocking me off, that's fine, but at least give me credit where it's due,
Yeah.
We're the ones that came up with this,
And it's not like you're going to go through patent all of these where no one can.
I don't got that kind of money.
No.
I'm not gonna. Do I have money to file a patent? Sure. Do I got the money it takes to back it?
No.
Right.
And I don't really care.
Handwritten letters, cease and desist.
Right. I mean, there's been one lure that's really been worth a patent, and Z-Man had the chatterbait, and they held that patent for a long time, and it was worth it, and they had the money to back it. And now that's over, and it's a free for all outside of their blade they sell a patent on. But a lot of these other techniques and stuff is like, you can spend all this money patented, and with this industry, it's like, what have you done for me lately? And it's like, next year, you're old news. It's like, no, everybody's fishing this. It's like, you just wasted 20 grand for no reason.
Right. Everybody's gonna move on to something different. Same thing in the gun world.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like I haven't knocked people off either. It's just the way it is. It's just a vicious cycle of just either coming up with something and getting knocked off, or knocking somebody else off that comes up with something. So
just got to get that piece of the pie, right?
Oh yeah. The with you starting, and you're like, your back was basically against the wall. I remember that whole stretch, and being in your cellar, tying jigs.
Potato bugs were the first employee.
Oh yeah. And I remember the first Novi show we did, and
tying jigs in the room.
we weren't selling jigs to make money. You were selling jigs, and I was helping you to survive.
Oh,
that's what it was. It was basically a form of sitting out in front on the curb begging for money. It was like, dude, you need to buy this. Like, you need like $5 at a time. And
you come into the booth, and it's like, we're not selling you on the jig. We're like, for the love of God, give us $5.
Yes. Yeah.
Does it work? We have no idea. Please just give us $5.
It's worth $5 to try it. Yeah.
And you literally bled at that show, because that's when the Reaper rig came out, and you went over to a distributor to buy your Reaper rig, and you wanted to show them how strong it was. And you took a competitor's and ripped it in half, and you took yours and tried to rip it in half, and the wire cut into your hand, and you were bleeding in your hand. You remember that?
Hey, it didn't pull apart though, did it?
No, it didn't. You come back. I remember you come back just like just furious and blood pouring down your hand. 5 minutes later, that guy came over and goes, "Yeah, I'll buy yours."
Had to pull out all the stops, man.
Yep,
It's freaking nuts.
That was when
and
that Alabama rig was like blowing up the
big.
world.
Yeah, those were the good days. And then you had Michigan guys like Kevin Van Dam put a stop to it, which just sucks. I mean, and then you got like the A rig you can't use, but you can use a sonar that tells you exactly where the fish are at, and you can watch them eat your lure. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's awesome. I don't care. You can fish however you want. It doesn't bother me. But it's like, how can we allow this and not that? And I just remember Kevin was a big guy. Like, I don't want to do this. And if I was him, I probably would have been the same way, right? Because it's like my livelihood depends on it. But like on the other side, I'm like, I'm selling these things for $20 a crack, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it costs you like $3 or $4 to make it.
Yeah.
Like it was like the first time in the industry you could make really good money.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was crazy. So anybody that was against it, I was just like, oh my God, you're pulling presents out from the Christmas tree right now.
Yeah.
Like
my kids got to eat, man.
Right. And it ended up not really, I'm sure it affected the sales on A-Rig when the pros didn't use it, but it was such a good lure that all the grassroots guys still use it to this day.
Yeah.
Like you can still, and now they sell for, $10 all the way up to $40, depending on what you're looking for. So, but yeah, that A-Rig was a good time to be a lead farmer. When the A-Rig came out, it was a good time. Now we just need something like that to happen again. And I think of that, what can I create that would spark like that, and if you can come up with one or two of them in your lifetime, you got something going.
Which you and I were having a conversation the other day, and I started to think about it. Is Nick and I are always talking about hunting on here, and so we are talking fish, but we are talking it's lead and limbs, and Dan is literally a lead farmer. And but taking that, you always have your finger on the pulse of like the fishing world, the regulation changes. Because we were talking about, the NRC doing some stuff with the bass the other day.
Yeah.
And, it is like, it's crazy because I didn't even know about it. Like,
I wouldn't have known anything about it because I don't really, I don't bass fish.
Yeah. But I don't have much, hope in the NRC as far as it comes to regulations. That's for sure.
It's interesting that we rely so solely on them.
I know. Well, that's what I said the other day is like, I blinked my eye and all of a sudden we had an NRC.
Yeah, we talked about that today. It's like, you're our new representatives and what qualified you and did we vote for you?
Yeah.
Were you just an appointed,
which one of you are in my area?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Who's coming to visit, Southern Michigan? Yeah. I don't know. I don't care for it much. Do other states have it? Like, those are all questions I have now that it's becoming more popular and all of a sudden you need a bunch on it. It's like, who the hell are these people? And,
exactly.
Why are they making decisions based on my life?
Yeah.
Why are they controlling my life?
Yeah. Well, in our industry for sure. Oh,
yeah, it's bad. I mean, we're lucky. The bass fishing community in Michigan has a guy named Dan Kimmel, and he runs what is that? GreatLakesBass.com.
Yeah.
Dan's a great dude, and he is really involved in the politics of bass fishing. Okay. And he was, if you are enjoying catch and release for bass right now, you can thank Dan Kimmel because he is literally the sole reason we all get to do that in this state. And so he kind of stays on top of it. Anything with the NRC that comes up that needs to be addressed, he reaches out to the right people. He'll email them and be like, Dan, this is what they're doing. I need you to email them and tell them your thoughts,
Yeah.
So,
sure.
So I don't even need to pay attention to it. If something arises, Dan's going to let me know. So, which is nice. Now I just need that in the hunting side and we could really be getting after it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're, so Nick and I we beat a dead horse basically on where we stand. I know where your dad stands.
I do not know the right answer. Okay, I'll just come out and say that. I'm not I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist, but I am a deer hunter, and I've been hunting deer my entire life, and I am a generational deer hunter, right? Like most of you are, right? It's a skill that's been handed down to me from generations. So I would like to think that I have a pretty good idea of what is right and what's wrong, you know? As far as growing the herd and monster bucks, I don't know. I don't know if the one buck rule will accomplish that. I don't I don't know if antler point restrictions will accomplish that. I'm not 100% sure. But what I can tell you is my thought on it is whenever we're adding government oversight, I don't like that. You know, the least amount of government, the better, if you ask me.
I agree.
Yeah,
You
I think
know,
we
and
all agree with
if
that.
we have politicians stepping in and making decisions on my part, it's like, should you even be involved in this? Is kind of what I think of. It's like just and I don't really want to speak for public land because I would imagine the government is. I would think the government is in charge of the public land, right?
Yeah, I
Someone's got to be
agree
in
there.
charge of it.
Yep.
It is the government that's in charge of it. But private land, you're already stealing money from me every year. Like I'm already paying property taxes every year. I'm basically leasing a piece of land that you say is mine. It's not mine. If it was mine, I wouldn't have to pay property taxes on it every freaking year, right?
Agreed.
And now you're going to tell me whether I can throw a bag of apples out there or not. You know, now you're going to tell me my 11-year-old, who is one hell of a deer hunter, can't shoot a 6-point. You know, or if she decides she wants to shoot a spike horn, she can't shoot a spike horn. You know, like all because of this one guy wants to shoot giant bucks. Like I want to shoot giant bucks too, but who am I to tell somebody else what they can and can't shoot, right? And my problem with the whole 2-buck tag to 1-buck tag is one, I don't care who you are. Everybody likes having 2-buck tag. You know, and they say like, oh, well, you're going to shoot the small one and then you'll wait to shoot the big one and you'll never get the big one. So you only shoot 1 buck. That's why all the 1-buck tags or 2-buck tags, the majority of people only shoot 1 buck. Sweet. You know how easy it is to shoot a spike horn? That same spike horn is going to die whether you have 1-buck tag or 2-buck tags because the dude's going to be hunting. He's never going to see the 8-point, and he's going to get sick of hunting eventually come Thanksgiving, and he's going to shoot the spike horn he's seen 700 times that season. The spike horn's still dying, no matter if you get 1 or 2, right?
Well, not unless there's an ARP on there too. So.
Right, or yeah, you know, the ARP would kill it, but
I just don't think that they're going to do any of it. I mean, I have this gut feeling that they're talking about doing all these things and that everybody is so divided. I just don't see them doing any of it. And the only thing we can do is do our part. And I can tell you from owning property here for years, Michigan's got a ceiling. It doesn't matter what your farm is, you have a ceiling here.
Every property has its own ceiling on whether, you know, which actually kind of leading into your buck from Kansas was what? 225th all-time Boone and Crockett from Kansas. 222.
We've got the
222.
222. So I was actually laying in bed last night. My mind doesn't stop working until my mind is unconscious. So I was thinking about us talking today, and I was thinking about this, that you have the 222nd biggest buck ever put in Boone and Crockett from Kansas, right?
Yep.
And it's not 200.
Right.
So and it's like what, 180, just over 180?
So gross on it was 186 and it netted out at 172, and it's got to be 170 to hit the record
Boone
books.
So let's just say it's in the top 120 or 225.
So to get to that 200 threshold in Kansas, there's been probably less than, I mean, I'd have to actually look at it, but there's probably a lot of deer between 170 and 199.
Be less than 100.
Oh, for sure.
Probably
I mean,
less than 100.
Yeah.
And so,
but I mean, a lot of the 200s are non-typical too, right?
Well, yeah, but if you're talking to try to do a 200 typical, like you're,
good luck.
They can't even grow them in the pens anymore.
No,
good luck.
Like, it doesn't happen. So like I was thinking about that. It was like everybody wants to shoot a 200, and it's like the amount of the people that shot 200. You've read their names in a magazine. You've heard them on a podcast. Like you know and the guys like Don Higgins, like the guys who've done it multiple times.
Oh yeah,
like 100% because there's what 3 of them, 4 of them.
4 of them.
Well, I mean that he's shot 4 of them.
Yeah, he shot 4.
Yeah, but I'm saying the amount of people who've shot more than one.
Spooks, man. I don't know how many he's got. He got like 9 or 10 on the wall.
But I was going to say there's probably only
Bowman's got. I think he's got 6 or 7.
There's got to be less than 10 people.
Maybe 20. He's got a bunch of them.
He's
got to be less.
I mean, I think a lot of his come from Kansas, Iowa. I mean,
a lot of his come from the checkbook. That's where a lot of his come
and that's
from.
all it is. Those guys are offering money for a deer that's. I mean, it's out there.
Yeah,
or he's
I think that's something.
I
think that's something you got to look at Michigan too. Is like all the guys that want it to be a trophy state, which I'm not sure. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not 100% sure on it yet, but we have so much land here and so many hunters here.
Yeah.
And if it did become a trophy state, like that's what makes Ohio and Kansas and Kentucky and Iowa really good. Is there's not a lot of hunters.
Yeah.
If you were to make Michigan a trophy state, you add all the people that live here and hunt, plus all the people that want to come and hunt Michigan now. Ask Ohio how that's going for them, with
I think
trying to get hunting land to hunt,
I think they would have to do it if we ever became, and I agree with you. We have more state ground. So if our state ground became a destination place, then we would have to have a draw.
Yeah,
similar to Kansas, similar to Colorado, all those places like that. You'd have to have a draw. The upside is they always. I don't know about you, but like when I go out of state, and I know when you travel out of state for state ground, you don't. But a lot of times when I travel out of state, I spend more money in that state than I do in my own.
Yeah,
pretty easily. Not so much on the lease itself, but like accommodations, food. I mean, your tag's more expensive. All that stuff kind of adds up for the state itself. Fuel to get there. I mean, it's an economy boost, but it could be a regulated economy boost.
Yeah, but
I just don't see it happen.
I don't see a draw happening with us being in the mix of Indiana and Ohio. Like we're right in that area that just doesn't do that.
Yeah.
If that was the right call, Ohio should have done it 15 years ago.
Oh, I think they should have. I mean,
I remember
ask the residents, they'll tell you they should have.
Yeah, every resident would.
When I started hunting Ohio, it was great, and then man, like 5 years later, just like man, I think the population just tripled in this area. Like it's insane. There's 2 trucks at every parking spot, and
so I think it boils down to everybody's what does good look like.
Yeah, well, and that brings me back to I don't think our state should mandate what a trophy is. I don't think it should be a state mandate. I think it should be in the eye of the person pulling the trigger. Sure, they can tell us how many we can shoot. I agree with that stance, but I don't think they should regulate what we shoot.
Yeah, I don't even like that they can tell me how many I can shoot. Other than someone has to, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Someone has to. But I don't like that it's coming from them. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be coming.
We know you have a problem with authority, so
coming from a biologist saying, "Hey, this is the number we should shoot each year."
But the problem is what is good for this county isn't good for this county.
No, and there's so much diversity in Michigan that people don't realize.
And then you can break it down not even by county from county, you township by township.
Yeah.
And then you can even break it down to parcel by parcel. I mean, especially with EHD, there was guys out there still filling 8 to 10 doe tags the year we got hit with EHD. And I was like, this is the year to kind of back off that a little bit. Like it was crazy.
And EHD hits, but the deer population here bounces back so fast. So the last one in Union City, I think, was 2012. And here we are 10, maybe it was 14. So I'm thinking it was 10 years prior to this. If you go to Union, like I was up there in Union City, which is an hour and a half, or it's 45 minutes from our place. I was up there for a track meet. Driving home, it was about 8 o'clock at night, just about dark, 8:30, somewhere in there. We had to stop 6 times on one of the main roads running through there, heading back to Brunson for deer.
Yeah.
And that's normal in that county again. Now, when that EHD hit there, it was wiped out. But they bounced back so fast. And I was thinking that, and I was telling my son that as we were driving home. I'm like, I remember when everybody complained that there was no deer here again.
Yeah.
And here we are watching deer walk from the woods over to a cornfield, and every 20 minutes or 20 miles down the road we have to stop. So, I just think we have a great population of deer. I would love to see the age class grow, but that's just me. But I don't think I really don't think they're going to do anything with it.
I'm afraid that nothing gets done or all of it gets done.
When I've told you, if they don't do it all at one time, they'll never get anything else.
But I don't want it all at one time. And
I know, but they'll never get it all. Everybody will see one way or the other, and they will fight it. It'll be like voting Trump in.
I couldn't even imagine that last year I got to hunt the whole season with $2 tags in my pocket and the potential to buy 10 doe tags. And then this year it could go to $1 tag in my pocket, can't hunt during rut, and 9-day gun season, and then an antler point restriction on top of it.
There's a state listening to us right now going, why are you crying?
They're going, that's our life. That's what you should be doing.
No kid. Sounds about normal to me.
Well, but here's the thing is, I agree with most of it. And I've been an advocate for the last 20 years to push gun season back.
Yeah.
No problem with that. I've said that we should move the gun season away from rut. So I started doing a little digging last night. If we shut down for 7 days prior to the gun season with no archery season, we would be the only state that has a whitetail season that would have a day closed in November. The only other exception is Pennsylvania with their Sunday rule.
Yeah.
But other than that, we
used to be Sunday rule too.
We would be a joke if our state shut down rut.
We already are a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we are the butt of everybody's podcast.
Oh yeah.
Where do you want to go? Not
Michigan. Let's stay away from that.
Pennsylvania's second.
But how? Yeah, it is too. Yeah. Because if you ask a Michigander, it's like, I don't want to go deal with Pennsylvania.
No, but that's the only reason is there's this.
How did we get to this situation? How did we get there? It's so bad. It's insane.
I told you it would be great to be a destination state. I know that there's a lot that comes with that, but I think my parents and my grandparents remember when you could go up north in Michigan and kill deer.
Oh,
Skeeter and I talked about that. UP used to be a destination place to go for deer camp. I don't even think we need to have giant bucks. Mature deer is cool, but I still think, wouldn't it be cool to have state ground in a northern part of our state that we could actually go to and feel like we could actually make a difference, or we could hunt deer those are untouched deer, and the conditions aren't much different than Canada. But we still can't get the population there. We know why.
But even Canada, and I've hunted Canada multiple times. You go up there and you see
it's vast. You're not going to see as many deer.
No, you see, if you see 5 deer in an entire week, one of them's going to be a good buck.
Sure, trophy deer.
But that's all you're going to see. That's a good week of seeing 5 deer. Yeah. So.
But I just remember, we did not have deer down here. Granddad would always say that because he would never shoot a doe. Never shoot.
Oh, yeah, because does make bucks.
Does make bucks.
I know that.
We don't shoot does. We just do not
shoot. School.
Dan's dad's still that same way. He's like, go shoot that 4-point, leave that doe.
We could have 500 does on the farm, and we're like, don't shoot any does. But, he would tell me stories about, we remember driving because somebody said they saw a deer, and then driving around the blocks trying to find that deer, like one deer in a block. But you go up north, and that's where they went to deer camp, and everybody came home with a deer.
Yeah.
So there was a big shift there. And you have to blame the state of Michigan for that.
Right? Something.
Right? So
I got to blame somebody. I don't care who I'm blaming.
And in addition to that, they say, well, we have no control over the population, and you guys should have shot more deer. Well, it's your regulations or whatever you've done in the past that's made this problem. We have 1.7 million deer, not because they breed every year, but because we haven't harvested enough. So sometime between the last 20 years where we went up north to kill deer and now they're gone, now they're all moved to the south, something is messed up. Well, it hasn't been me, because I still hunt the same way that you let me hunt for the last 20 years. So it's got to be the state.
Well, the problem with the NRC too is the DNR will literally be like, here's the data.
Sure.
And then the NRC will be like, okay, Well, that's done. All right, this is what we want to do.
Data.
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, and that's the part of the problem is like they can just do whatever they want. They don't care. Yes, they get bitched at and they get yelled at and they get bad emails left or right or whatever it might be, and everybody's cordial, like, you know, and of getting their opinion across. But man, I don't know. But I really want to get into that big
deer.
that big buck on the wall. That
the big one.
Yeah.
So you shot 2 now? This is the second one?
He shot 3.
I've shot 3 in a row. I don't know how I've even got drawn 3 years in a row because it's a draw state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've just gotten lucky and drawn 3 times in a row.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And we're talking Kansas public land.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went to Kansas 1 year and didn't get nothing. Saw like a 150-ish twice that I couldn't pull the trigger on, and then didn't draw. 1 year I didn't draw, and 1 year I didn't put in for it. So Onyx, you know, that's the big thing. If anyone's going public land, like you always hear that thing, like, would you determine cell cameras or Onyx? Like, what's the biggest tool?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like if you're hunting in your backyard, cell camera, right? If you're going somewhere else, Onyx. You know, if you're going out of state, Onyx. And so we went out to Kansas, same unit. We've gone in the past, and I basically kind of saw like 3 different areas, 3 different fingers that I liked, and dropped off. I was driving, dropped off the other guys with me, and strapped everything to my back: pack, stand, sticks. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like much, but this was before sling, right? This was an actual like hang on stand and sticks. I'm talking like 100 pounds of gear, right?
Yeah.
On my back. And I went down one of these ditches or whatever, and basically Kansas is a lot of field and then strips of woods that run through like drainage ditches or creeks, you know.
Yep.
So I went down one, went up one, and then went back down another one. And these are like really thick. And at this time, I probably walked like 3 miles up and down these mountains, carrying hundreds of pounds. And I got to the 4th one, and I'm like, I saw a rub, and like that's the first sign I've seen. And I'm like, I liked those 4 little fingers, you know. And I'm like, well, I'm exhausted. I'm just gonna set up here. So I hung my tree stand, and this was probably like 3:00 in the afternoon at this time. I've been walking for 5 hours. I saw like a doe, and that was it. And I remember picking up everybody that night. We went out to eat, and they're like, "What do you think of your spot?" I'm like, "My spot sucks. Like I hate this freaking spot. Like I just got, and I was all tired and ornery. I just drove 13 hours. And I walked 5 hours. I haven't slept. And I'm just like, this spot's the worst spot ever. I freaking hate this spot. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I was all freaking out, right? And I go back. I'm like, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to hunt the morning. And then after the morning, I'm going to tear this set out. I'm going to go find something else. And about 9 o'clock, about 9 o'clock, that giant walks in, and
is that the only deer you saw that morning?
It was, yeah. I seen a doe the night before, and then this buck was the only buck I seen. I was did a little grunting, a little rattling, and he walked right in. I shot him at about 35-ish yards, and had no idea he was this big. You know, I hunt Michigan. You know, it's like when you see the frame, you know it's a shooter, right?
Yeah.
I didn't take time to see how big he was. I just knew this is a giant deer. I'm going to shoot it. He went about 100 yards and died right next to the road. And I remember a local drove by, and I was sitting there like, oh my God. Like, and still at this point, I wasn't sure how big it was. Like, I had him in my hands, but I wasn't like, this is a booner, you know? Yep. And the local stops, and he's like, oh man, that's a big buck. I'm like, hey, can we throw it in the back of your truck and you drive me up this mountain to where my truck's at, right? So I didn't have to walk up there. And I was like, I pulled the 2K deal. I'm like, hey, I own a fishing lure company. I'll give you a few $100s in gift cards if you'll drive me up there, you know? And he was like, all right, hell yeah, you know? So we threw it in there, and on the way up there, I'm like, yeah. He's like, man, that's a big buck. I'm like, you think it's gonna go 150? Because like that's what I was after, right? I'm like, I want a 150-inch buck.
Yeah.
And I mean, the biggest buck I've ever shot in Michigan's like 115. Like it's not, 120. It's nothing huge. I'm like, I want a 150-inch buck. And he looked at me like,
are you stupid?
yeah, yeah, it's 150 inches. I'm like, sweet, I'm like, awesome. So I get there, and the rest of the guys come a few hours later, and they're just all like, holy shit, that's a big buck, but no one really said like, because I don't even think they knew, right? They're all from Michigan too. They didn't really know. And so we got it back to the house, and I brought those two guys back out in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm going to the dollar store. I'm buying a tape measure, and I'm buying some string. I'm going to measure this damn thing. I want to know what it is, So I tape it all, and I've measured deer before. I'm no professional at it by any means, but
yeah,
I measured it up, and I got like 185 or something. And I was like, well, I freaking measured this wrong. I better go back through it. So I measured it again. I got like 184 or something. That time I was like, being really stingent with it. And I'm like, no. So then I Googled Boone and Crockett. I Googled whatever the scoring was. I'm like, am I doing this right? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it right. So I measured it a third time, got 180 or 186. I'm like, I messaged the guys. I'm like, hey, I kind of felt like an idiot because I didn't want to like say, oh, my buck's 186. And then they're going to go like, it's nowhere near that. You did something wrong, I was like, hey, I measured it and it's like 186. And both of them were like, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I'm like, well, how no one told me that I was sitting on a booner, So,
oh, shoot.
30 or 90 days, whatever it was. And I brought it into a scorer, and, he measured it up, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be close. And I'm like, well, I measured it at like 185. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, it'll be close. So he measured it at 186 and like 5/8 or something. And then with the deductions, it was 172 and a couple eighths or something like that. And it's got to be 170. And like that, I was like, holy shit, I just shot a freaking booner, like now it's reality,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what's crazy is you see like a lot of guys, and now after I went through all that, you see a lot of guys like, oh, I just smoked a booner. And then I look at them like, no, it's not.
Nah.
Like, people don't understand what a booner is.
It's a different level.
So mine scored 186 net or gross, but the net's 172. It only has a split brow and a kicker off the G2.
Yeah.
It's got like 7 inches of tine on 2 antlers.
Yep.
And it went from 186 all the way down to 172, and it only had like 1 inch difference between antlers outside of the 2 kickers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like because you
perfectly
don't get to
symmetrical
you don't get to count the extra points. Plus, those extra points get subtracted from your net, right?
Yeah.
So you shoot a 180, and you have a 7-inch kicker coming off one side. You just lost 14 inches.
Yeah.
Just from that 117 incher, or 1 7-inch deal. So it's just super. Like I'll probably never do it again. That's what.
Oh, shut up!
I told
then talk
everybody.
about your second one, you dummy.
Shut.
Yeah, you just said that it'll never happen again. And then last year you go down and it's not as big, but screw you, it's still pretty damn big.
Only I never got this one professionally scored, but like you can tell I'm pretty good at scoring, seeing how I was only like an inch. I was like an inch away from the real one, right? So, or the big one. This one scored I scored this one at 182. So it's somewhere, it could be 184,
Yeah.
I know it's not lower than 182 because if anything, I shorted myself because I wanted to, I wanted to get a legit score on it. But yeah, this one's crazy. So just the first one was dumb luck. Like I literally hated the spot, right? And then it ended up being such a good spot that like a couple days later, my buddy couldn't get a buck, so I had still had my tree stand up. So he went and sat there. He shot a 12 point in an hour sitting in that spot. So like that spot's money, right? Um, so the next year I went and hunted a different location, 5-10 miles from there, hunting off the ground, and I shot a off Onyx, found it again on Onyx, sat there one time, shot 150 incher at 7 feet
Oh wow.
from off the ground. It was the most insane thing you've ever seen. I was laying flat on my back. I grunted him in. He was at a scrape. I grunted him in. He walked 7 steps from me. I mean, he was using a crossbow, and I pulled the trigger and it clicked. And he
Oh
looks at
geez.
me. I didn't flip the safety off, you know.
Oh.
And I'm laying down, I'm laying, and I flip the safety off and I shoot him. 7 steps away, but that was intense, right?
Whew. Yeah.
And that's that one there. It was 150 and 5/8, and then so the next year I draw again somehow. Like I talked to a couple locals down there, and they're like, "You are the luckiest person in the world," type of deal, you
Yeah.
know.
No doubt.
And I drew again, and so the story behind this second one is the same year I shot that 150, a guy with me shot a really nice buck, just up the draw from where I shot this one, and couldn't find it. Got a dog. We tracked him. The dog kicked the deer up a little over a mile away, still bedded with the doe.
Oh, okay.
And the dog guy's like, this deer ain't gonna die,
Right.
This deer's gonna live. And fast forward the next year, I go to the same spot I shot that 150 at. But you remember me telling you he was on a scrape, and I grunted him off a scrape. I just went right to the scrape,
Sure.
and I sat up on top of this hill about 15 yards on the ground from the scrape. And I went in there the first night, and I saw like a 150-ish buck. Could have shot him, passed him up, because at this point I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Might
want
be something
all
bigger
right,
here.
get a bigger one now, And so I went back in the morning, and there was a guy hunting, not in my spot, but close enough to my spot where I could, I would
Didn't
have been
feel
like
like you were
100.
gonna pushing them off.
Yeah, I would have been like 100 yards from him, and I wasn't going to do that. So I just kept walking, about a mile away, and hunted a different spot. And ran into him on the way out, and I was like, "Hey, are you hunting this spot in the evening?" Because I wanted to hunt it. I'm the guy that flashlighted you. He's like, oh, "Okay." He's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I took your spot." I'm like, "Well, it's public land. Like, it ain't my
Yeah.
spot. You
Yeah.
were here first. Like, it's cool. If you're gonna hunt here in the evening, just let me know. I won't walk this direction." He's like, "No, it's too far to walk. You can hunt it. I'm not coming back here." I'm like, freaking perfect, because
Okay.
I've been hunting this spot. I know it's money. So I get in there, and in the afternoon, and I sit down for a couple minutes, and my buddy calls me. And when someone calling you,
They're
a
dead.
buddy that's hunting with me,
Yeah.
something happened, right?
Deer's dead.
And
Yep.
I've only been sitting down for 5 minutes, so I figured he either killed something walking to his stand, or he fell out of a tree, right?
Yeah.
No.
And so I pick up the phone, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "I just smoked one." I'm like, "Seriously?" Like, he's like, I climbed up in my stand, and the deer must have thought all that commotion was just another buck. This is right when the ruts start, and he come running in to him as he sat down,
Unreal.
and he shot him. I'm like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna obviously hunt, because I just sat down,
Yeah.
and I'll come over there, uh, and help you, take care of them once the hunt's done." And it's like, okay. So I set my phone down, and uh, do a couple grunts, and 15 minutes later, this buck starts walking in, and he goes right to the scrape, and he's coming from the direction that I was used to sit at, right? So I'm not sure it would have worked if I didn't make this move. But he come right to the scrape. I'm on the ground. He's 15-ish yards from me, and he's staring right at me. And I just put one right through him, like staring straight at me. And I just remember him walking by, and like what a lot of people don't realize is they see like a buck with like a huge spread and they're like, oh, that's a big scoring buck, right? Tine length is where you get all your inches from, you know? And I just seen him walking this edge and I just seen 12, 13-inch 2s and 3s. I'm like,
good deer.
Big
Good
one,
enough.
you know?
Yep.
And he come face to face and I put one right through him and he did a backflip, landed on his back, got up on his hind legs, kind of pushed himself, dragging his front legs for about 10 yards and then like died, basically. And I'm sitting there looking at him. I'm like, "Whoo, baby, you know, this is a big one." And I called my buddy that shot one. I said, "You ain't gonna freaking believe it, but I just shot one, you know." And he's like, "Is it big?" I said, "Yeah, it's big." He's like, "Bigger than your last one?" I'm like, "Close." Like I said, if his left side is the same as his right side, it's close. But I just seen the one side, you know. And when you see a 90-inch side, you kind of black out, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like,
that's a good one.
Yeah. And so I stand up and to leave to go help my buddy, and the deer gets up and runs away.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
And I'm like, what just happened? Like I started freaking out, you know? And I go help him and he's like, oh, he's dead, you know? And I'm like, oh, I hope so. You know, I don't know if I just screwed it up or whatever. And we drive down there and there's blood everywhere. And he's like, yeah, he's got to be dead. And we walked maybe 40 yards into the woods and there he was. And he's like, oh my God, you know, it's freaking huge. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, it's the same. The side's the same. It had, what did it have? It had, it was a mainframe 11 point. And then it had kicker on the G2, kicker on the brow tine, a kicker off the G4 on one side, and then eye guard. And it had another G2 split on the other side, but it broke off. And like I think that G2 was even bigger because the break on it was 4 inches of the tine was broke off. So I think it had some length to it. So it probably would have been close to 190 if that G2 wasn't broken, or the split off the G2. But I look at this deer and I'm holding it up and I'm like, this deer looks really familiar. Like, it looks really familiar. So I take a picture of it and I send it to the guy that was with me the year before that shot one and wounded it.
Yeah.
Because we ran into a local after that a year ago that said, you know, did you get one? No, we had a dog, didn't track it. He's like, what did it look like? Steve explained it to him. And he's like, I got a picture of him. Is it this one? And he's like, yeah, that is that one. That's the one I missed, you know? So we still had a picture of the one he hit. And he goes, yep, that's it. 100%. It's the exact same deer my buddy shot the year before, just with 20 to 25 more inches on it, you know? And it was just in the same cut that we shot him in the year before. You know, that was just his home range. And I mean, it was pretty crazy. But so yeah, I shot 2 over 180 in 3 years. After saying I don't think I'm ever going to do this again, and I put in again, and if I draw 4 years in a row, you know, I might be really the luckiest hunter.
You might have to wait for 200 there.
You ain't letting no 180 walk.
Nah, I have a 200 on camera, you know, videotaping it over a field. There's just giants there, but it's so even when I'm done hunting, I just go back out in the woods and call. You know, I had a huge 4x2 I called in, and I went out with another guy that was there a couple days after I went. He wasn't seeing nothing. I took him to another spot I knew about. Called him in a really nice one. I sat on the ground. He was in a tree stand. I called him in. He hit a limb and ended up not being able to find it. But it's just that it would be cool if Michigan could ever be like that. I just don't know if it ever would. But man, when you sit there and you can, from what I hear, Kansas, they just react to calling in Kansas a lot different than anywhere else.
Do.
The deer act like deer.
Yeah,
and it's just that. Like you Missouri, could do whatever you want.
Missouri, Kansas deer, Southern Illinois deer, they act like deer.
They act like deer.
Yeah.
And same with Iowa.
Yeah.
But I remember that day. I remember I was on the phone with Ryan on the other end, and then he called me, and then he called you, and then you called him that you shot one, and then he called me back and said you shot one, and I don't remember.
It's just wild.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's a wild, and I don't know if it's. The first time I went to Kansas, it was the week before that. It was like the last week of October, and it wasn't like that.
No.
And the last 3 times I've gone has been in November, and dude, it is a wild place.
Yeah. For real. We do too. That's when we go. Kansas, Missouri. That's when I go. Hopefully, I draw Kansas this year. If I don't,
I'm going Missouri for a week, and then right to Kansas if I draw Kansas. So it'll be like a little 2-week deal, and maybe if Kansas goes fast enough, I'll swing by back in Missouri and get one with a rifle.
There you go.
On my way home. So. Could be a $3 vacation.
Usually when we go, that's what I try to do with Missouri is we go during Missouri's rifle season. We still bow hunt the place. The place that we lease is a bow only place. But if I don't draw a Kansas tag, we go across the Missouri side and we hunt Missouri. And I'll still hunt with a bow in the Missouri area, but I take my crossbow. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
big fan.
Yeah.
Dan, I appreciate you coming on. I love hearing your story on that buck. That thing is awesome. Both of them are. Actually, all three. I like
blessed.
152. So,
absolutely.
But we'll wrap this up, and we kind of end it with a question. We're lead and limbs. Nick's the gun side. I'm the bow. Granted, we both hunt with bow and we both hunt with gun, and we're blessed to be able to do that. But if you had one choice for all seasons, for the rest of your time, what would you choose? Would you choose a bow or would you choose a gun?
Is this like survival or just like for fun?
No,
we can't do it as survival. Let's just say you had to pick. You had to pick one or the other.
Yeah. I really enjoy shooting a crossbow, and I know that's kind of like both of them.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoy it. I've never been a really big rifle hunter. I hunt the opening weekend, because that's ritual, and then Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah.
Yep.
But I started off with a recurve hunting rabbits when I was a kid, and then went to compound. I used a compound until Michigan opened up crossbow, and a couple years into that, I got the crossbow, and it's like, I freaking love it. I mean, I'm not sure. Everybody says, "Oh, it's easy this, easy that." I'm like, yeah, maybe it is. You don't got to practice. I don't really agree with that. I shoot that just as much as I shot my compound. I just really like I hunt off the ground with it. I try to get them as close as. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that with a bow. I'm sure I'll try it eventually, but I gotta get the rest of this crossbow out of me first, right?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, long-winded, it would be something with an arrow for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Right on.
Well, hey man, I appreciate it. If you guys want to check out custom 2KJigs, 2KJigs.com.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Hit Dan up if you guys want any of that stuff, and thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to Lead and Limb Podcast, brought to you by Lost Nation Archery in Brenton, USA.